Target is the latest company making changes following backlash over its LGBTQ+ support. These images are some of the items available for Pride Month. The company says it is pulling some of the other products from its stores nationwide ahead of Pride Month in June as part of a response to threats directed at its employees. Target released a statement that said in part, quote, "Given these volatile circumstances, we are making adjustments to our plans, including removing items that have been at the center of the most significant confrontational behavior." Business reporter for the New York Times, Jordyn Holman, joins us now to talk about this. Jordyn, good to have you. So walk us through this latest brouhaha with Target. I mean, we already covered what happened with Bud Light. Yeah. What's going on with Target?
So we're just days ahead from the launch of Pride Month, and Target for the past decade has always had some merchandise around Pride. So whether that's T-shirts with rainbows or greeting cards that are supporting people coming out, that's always been there at the front of the store. But this year, they've gotten a lot of backlash for having those items. So Target has now made the decision in some of its stores to move those products to the back of the store. So it's not the first thing you see.
Oh, that's interesting. But as you point out, yes, Bud Light has gone through this. Target, I was just reading about North Face is going through some alleged backlash as well for their Pride outfits and the activities that they're doing. The thing about it is, you just pointed out, Target's been doing this for a decade. The North Face, what they're being criticized for is something they did last year. This is the second time they're doing it. No one said anything.
So what's changed?
Yeah.
So there's always been some tension when it comes to brands doing something with Pride, just because we live in a divided country. But this year is different because what we're seeing from some Republican-like states is that there's, laws restricting transgender rights. So that is now feeding into this consumer base that all these companies are trying to cater to. They're now dealing with a very divided consumer base with very strong opinions about transgender rights. And that's almost creating this playbook of saying, if I can get these brands to listen to me and we're criticizing on this, maybe they will give in. Maybe they'll get rid of some of this Pride stuff.
What's interesting, though, and you and I were talking about this as well yesterday off camera, which is that there sometimes seems to be a performative aspect to what corporations do, right? I mean, the reality is that these companies, whether it's Anheuser-Busch, whether it's Target or North Face, they're trying to sell a product.
Yeah.
Now, there may be some CEOs that feel a certain way about an issue, but the reality is they're trying to get Americans or people with money to part with their money to buy their stuff. And so if they are putting these, which is why when the backlash happens and they pull things immediately off the shelves, it kind of gives you a sense as to why they were doing it in the first place. If they know that they're going to lose money because people are going to boycott their products, and of course they're going to remove them, as opposed to really being an ally to a community, which would then indicate that they don't care about their sales, they're going to continue to do it.
Well,
right?
I think it's very interesting, the messaging that Target is putting out. They're not saying that, okay, we hear you consumers will do, they're saying, well, there's a threat to our employees.
That's a good point.
Like, it's an interesting,
Right, they're saying their employees are being threatened, people in stores are being threatened.
Right, and I will point out that Target in particular, their first quarter numbers, I think, have been kind of not very good. So they're already kind of in a vulnerable position.
Yeah, that goes to the other point about what's different this year. A lot of retailers over the past few years, people just spent with abandon. Now we're in this time where you really have to convince people to spend and be really strategic about how you're marketing. And so that's playing up against, this very divisive political issue. The other point that you're just making about, there's always some performative aspect to it. And there's no denying that the LGBT community has growing political, social, financial power in this country. And that's where companies are trying to grab the dollars from. But in the same way that a lot of people were angered by Target putting out Pride merchandise, a lot of people have been angered by them pulling it back, hiding it in stores. And so I spoke earlier to the GLAAD CEO, and she made it really clear that companies have to stay firm because it could possibly embolden other people, conservatives on the right. And it kind of shows you're not an ally through and through.
Yeah, I mean, talk about threading. They have to figure out a way to thread the needle or they could lose everything. I thought to myself, I bet you all this stuff is going to sell out in no time if they play their cards right? But if they seem disingenuous, then I don't know if it's going to work out that way.
Yeah, and we've reported on the fact that many people, conservatives, love calling out cancel culture. Do they see this as being different? trying to cancel a brand or try to cancel a marketing executive in the case of Bud Light, who, remember, this person was brought on to shake things up and to go after, to target demographics to buy that beer that had been historically overlooked. And I think there was a podcast that she was on where she talked about the image that beer label had in the past, where I think she called it, I'm paraphrasing here, like bro culture, right? Nobody had a problem with seeing scantily clad women traipsing across a beach while you try to sell a product, but they have a problem with this.
Hey, listen, there is a double standard here, especially when we get into cancel culture. And it's not always clear exactly what critics are angry about with these companies. Even with the Target situation, some people were saying they were selling these tuck-friendly swimsuits to kids, but that was not the case. Or
that wasn't true.
That was not true. Or some people were just upset that there was like kids' clothes that said "Be proud." We don't quite know. The Bud Light situation is another one, but it is just, I think the overall umbrella of this is that people don't like certain items that are being sold and feeling like no one else should have access to those items.
We could probably talk about this for another half hour, but Jordyn, we got to let you go. Thank you so much for coming on with us.
Thanks for having me.